So, a while back the motors on White Menace started stuttering, and so I finally decided to remove the plugs and solder the motors directly onto the board. I tried to document the process as best as I could, so bear with me. Now, before soldering the motors, I had to do some practice on a practice board because I am a beginner at soldering, and after that, it was time for the real thing. So first things first, I unscrewed all the screws. Then I unplugged all of the motors, cut off the plastic part, and stripped the wires. Then I started removing the plugs. First I added solder to the pins on top, then pulled the plugs while keeping the solder melted. But there was a problem. When pulling the plugs, only the plastic part came off, meaning that the pins were still stuck on the board. I fixed this by pulling out each pin individually, which required a lot of effort and patience. After removing the pins, I removed excess solder from the pads. Finally, the board was ready for soldering. First I put some solder on the pads. Then I started soldering the motors, but I made a mistake by not checking if the motors would fit through the frame. Luckily I realized this after soldering the first motor, so I desoldered it and started soldering the proper way. I was also having a hard time soldering the wires, so I thinned them a little bit with solder. After successfully soldering all of the motors, I reassembled the drone and was ready for a test flight. As you can see, one of the motors is stuttering, which can mean one of three things. There is a short in between the wires, the motor is broken, or the board is broken. To find out what the problem is, I tried fixing the soldering first, which didn't work. Then I switched the opposite motors to see what is broken. Turns out it was the board all along. So next thing I did was order a new one and wait for it to arrive. Oh man. What could that be? Oh. Thanks. Having a new board means I had to remove the plugs all over again. And since this was a new version of the board, the pads were bigger and for some reason the pins didn't want to come off, so I just cut them off. After everything was done, I soldered the motors again and was ready for another test flight. Let's see how it goes. Well, spin. Let's get started. It flies. Has a lot more punch than I remember it to. Like power. That's interesting for sure. Oh damn, I need to get used to flying it again. Oh. Whoops. Which is interesting that it has like a lot more like power. That makes sense. Very interesting. Wasn't expecting that. A lot more power, what the fuck? I'm not sad about it, but like, goddamn, holy moly. Maybe because the connection is more secure, like what? Just like goddamn. God damn! I can actually do flips now without worrying of it falling to the ground. Yippee! It's like holy moly, it flies well. You know, I like it. It's very responsive. I absolutely love that I can do flips normally again. In case you didn't know, previously it was like if I sometimes if I did a flip, I just drop to the ground because the motor would like bug out, you know. So it's really nice. It's a life changer.
le kaj iz tebe naredi prazno upanje. Ko bi le vedela, ko bi le vedela, z očetom sva bežala v Trst in čez morje v Argentino, do novembra pridemo nazaj in takrat bo vojna mimo. Aj si se ne konča in za nas sem se borila. Kje je zdaj dom, ko te zavrne domovina? S Bogom, Helena, ko bi le vedela, meje domovine niso meje srca. S Bogom, Helena, ko bi le vedela, meje domovine niso meje srca. Leta so minila in v molitvi, da ostanem živa, mati jokala je teden dni, ko sem se vrnila siva. Nikoli ne zaupaj vsem in zapomni si, Helena, politika nikoli ne bo.
Subscribe if you enjoyed.